It's early in the morning and this room is a mess.
Hello, welcome to episode 13 of Nicolo's World Podcast. I am your host, Nicole. Today is January the 30th, 2014. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to check us out, and I hope you subscribe and come back for another week. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back another week, and welcome. I am so glad to have you back. Alright, sorry for the motion sickness. I'm trying to adjust this. Alright. As I said, welcome. We have a couple things to talk about, so I guess we should get in and get started. And also grab your beverage of choice. Alright, let's jump in with Administrati. First and foremost, happy birthday to all my January viewers via iTunes, Rav, YouTube. Happy birthday, everybody. If you guys are watching me on iTunes or your first time checking me out on iTunes and you're wondering why you only see the first 15 or 17 episodes, the reason is the host that I'm using to go on iTunes. I am using their free account and I only get so much storage, so I have to take my older episodes off so that I can keep it current. So if you're a new viewer and you want to check out previous episodes, or you're a continuing viewer and there's an episode that you want to catch up on episodes because you're behind, or you want to check an episode, rewatch an episode because of something I was talking about. In order to do that, I do have them up on my YouTube channel, which you can find under Nikki18229. I will put the name of my YouTube channel along here, thanks to magic of editing. I'm going because I love podcasting every week for you guys and also hosting on iTunes. I am going to be looking at upgrading it to a paid subscription because I love doing this. It may also, depending on prices, I may switch to Hipcast. A lot of the podcasters you may have watched on Blip are going to Hipcast. They say it's pretty good, so we'll see. Alright, that's about that. So if you can't find older episodes, don't freak out. That is why. And also, you can watch me on my blog. I have a blog. I put up my episodes as well as blog about different things. And my blog is nicolo.blogspot.com. I will put that along here too. If you're watching me on YouTube, around here somewheres, you should be able to see a little bubble with the link to the podcast. Or not the podcast, but to my blog. Sorry. This is my third time. They always say third time's a charm. Alright, next, we have an along going on. A crochet and knit along for Go Red for Women's Heart Month in February. It started January the 25th because I was so excited about starting it. And it ends February 28th. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know where that's coming from. I will close it February. I will leave it open long enough so that our West Coast viewers can get in on it if they want to submit it, last minute entries. I will leave it open and I will close it midnight West Coast time to give West Coast viewers a chance to put any entries in. And the winner will randomly be drawn on the next podcast. And the rules to be in this along are simple. They are, you must be a member of the group to win. So if you're not a member, come on over. Come on. Don't be shy. Come on. It's okay. Come on. And You must be a member of the group to win. You gotta join and become a member, and then you can enter. You have to knit. You can knit or crochet anything, as long as it's in red yarn. And if you're wondering, like red, like what kind of red, it can be anything from screaming red to deep dark red to a mute red. It cannot be pink. I'm sorry, no pink allowed. It can be any shade of the red palette. No pink. I know pink, you use red to get pink, but no pink, long as it's red. And you can dip, as long as it's okay with other podcasters, you can dip as many times into, like if another group has a February along for Heart Awareness Month, and you enter there, and they say you can enter in other podcasts, you can enter in mine, but you got to be a member of the group, and you will get a prize. You're probably sitting there going, what's the prize? What could we win? Well, I'm glad you asked. What you can win, let me see if I can find it now. As I said, this is my third time doing this. I know I have it. I know I do. Don't tell me I gotta pause it. Oh, here it is. It's right in front of me. I'm sorry. I really am kind of... If I was ever organized, you guys would not recognize this podcast. Alright, it's being kept... I just opened it. It's being kept in the Ziploc baggie in case anybody's allergic to dogs. I have two. And FYI, you may hear one of them coming in here or laying down, and they'll snore, or you'll hear them barking. Just thought I'd let you know. This yarn is out of my personal stash. I bought it at darngoodyarn.com a long time ago, and it's in her original colorway. It's 100 grams of her Silk Sari yarn. It's in the classic colorway, and it is just luxurious. I have knit and crocheted several items with it. My headband here. It's actually half a headband. It ties in the back. You can mix this with other yarn if you want it to make it to last. It works well. Washing, I will put a note in with the winner just so that they know. You can wash this, and once you make the item, you can stick it in the washer and wash it with other colors and stick it in the dryer. You can hand wash it and let it dry by itself. This headband that I have on, it is in the grab bag colorway, and I've had this for a few years now, and I have stuck this bad boy in the washer and washed it and stuck it in the dryer and dried it, and it has not felted, it has not faded, it has come out great. And this is a free pattern over on her website if you check out darngoodyarn.com. It is a free pattern. It's called Half a Ball Headband. And as I said, I love this. It will bleed the first time you wash it. So if you want to hand wash it. But one lucky winner will get this. And I will stick instructions in it with it for you, just so you know. But this is wash and dryable safe. And it will come to you in a Ziploc bag in case you have allergic to pets. Here it is. That will be drawn on after the contest is over in our next podcast. And whoever the lucky winner is, show me what you make out of it. I'd be excited to see, and let me know what you think of it, because I love Darn Good Yarn. Alright, that is all our administrative stuff. Let's move on to finished objects. I have it on. I finished my breakaway neck warmer. And I will show you guys. And my hair's all staticky because of the weather. Alright. You guys remember this was a work in progress last week. Didn't it come out amazing? You guys can see the detail in it now. I have it up close. This is a pattern. It's a paid for pattern. And if any of you guys watch Retro Lemon, I love Jenna's podcast. Go check out Retro Lemon. And she created it's a neck warmer. In case you're watching, I hate the word cow. And it is paid for. I don't want to give too much away. But the pattern's not that expensive. It was like $6. That's what it looks like. That's who made it, in case you want to know. Check it out. In case you want, what did I use to make it? Well, what I used to make this was Red Heart Super Saver in the turquoise colorway. I know, you used acrylic, how dare you? Well, the turquoise is one of my favorite colors. I should say one of my, in Red Heart Solid colorway, turquoise is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite blues. I love it. I know you can't see how beautiful the blue is with the lighting. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and figure out how to lighten it up in editing. But I was knitting it. I decided to use Red Heart because I'm like, what if I make it and I don't like it? It's not me. I don't like it. It's not comfortable. I feel like somebody's choking me and I want to give it away. Because we all have friends that love getting knit and crochet goodness from us, and they just assume that you can just throw it in the washer and dryer and that's it. And then they're like, it shrank. Why did it shrink? What did you give me that it shrank? Some people don't understand that some items are hand wash only, or you can stick it in the washer but you can't stick it in the dryer. So that led me to make it out of Red Heart. I'm like, if I don't like it, I can give it to somebody and I can say, don't worry, it's washable and dryer safe. They can wear it and stick it in the dryer. I tried it on and I was surprised I actually liked it. Because I'm not a big person for wearing things around my neck. I like scarves, don't get me wrong, I'm a scarf person, but neck warmer person, I didn't think I would be because of it. But what I like is I can wear it like this if I want to wear it and keep it up like this. It is nice. I actually like it. I am going to try some of my nicer yarn and make it out of it, but that's that. It's all the finished objects. Next, works in progress, or I should call it when knitting attacks progress. Wonk, wonk. Y'all remember or if you're new, it's first time hearing this, but I signed up for a Craftsy class on Craftsy by Stephen West. I know some people don't like Stephen West. Some people aren't a fan of his. Some are. Personal choice. But I took his Shawscape class on Craftsy, which I actually liked it. It was very informative. I mean, some things I would have liked to be changed in it, as far as the pattern that you use go, that he shows you more of it, but it was still informative. I learned a lot. I guess he could only show so much of the pattern on how to work it. I wish he could have showed more, but the pattern that you use in his Shawscape class is also a free pattern on Rav. It's the Boneyard Shaw. Some of you watching out there in podcast land have probably made it. I am currently using the Boneyard Shaw via the Craftsy class. It differs from the Ravelry one. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because the Shawscape class was a paid for class. So therefore I feel since it was a paid for class and the patterns included, I obviously paid for this pattern. I know it's free on Ravelry. If I was making the Rav one, then I could go into a little detail talking about it because it's free. But being that this was from the Craftsy class, I can't go too much into detail about the pattern. I will say some of the knitting attacks was my own fault, and I'm glad it happened. You're probably wondering why that is, but let me show you what's going on here. I did rip it out and restart it. That's why I'm saying when knitting attacks, I ripped it out and restarted it only because the needles I was using before that I showed you guys last week were by Yarnology. They were a Hobby Lobby brand, and on the Cirques, the cable part wasn't plastic, or it wasn't like PVC with a coating or wire with the coating. It was plastic tubing. It was tubing, and when I'd go to move it on to the next needle, I would be there going, pulling it, like just pulling it down the tubing because it didn't want to slide. And that made it horrible when I went to go put it on the needles because the plastic tubing wasn't inserted all the way on top of the one needle and the stitches would get stuck. Or I'm knitting along and I need more stitches and I have to yank on the tubing more to get the stitches down. It just made it hard and I'm very disappointed. I love the needles themselves. They're great as long as you don't have to pull to get more stitches. So then I was like, Nicole, you have 5.mm CHAGU knitting needles. CHAGU red lace. I have the red lace ones. I bought them on eBay. Why don't you use those? I'm like, okay. So I knit them onto the new needles. And I'm knitting away. And I'm like, I'm running out of room. And I'm like, this shawl just, it's not sitting right. It looks funny. So as I'm knitting along and I realized I dropped stitches. Well, I'm like, okay, grab my little handy dandy crochet hook and I'm bringing up the stitch and I'm like, this isn't coming out right. Something does not look right, Nicole. What did you do? And I noticed I had more stitches that fell off the hook. So then I go back and I look at my pattern. Well, I realized I wasn't doing it right. Yeah. So I'm glad I had a one knitting attacks. I was doing it the pattern itself I had down, but the way they wanted you to repeat it, I wasn't doing right. So yeah, I'm glad I had a one knitting attacks. I'm glad I lost stitches, so that I went and ripped it right out to restart it. And here is what it looks like now. Looks kind of crooked. It's not crooked. Alright, it just looks crooked because of the way it's sitting on the needles. But here's what it looks like. Because right in here, right here is the middle of it, the base. I have my stitch markers, and if you guys can see them, these are stitch markers that I made. And they are, let me see if you guys can see better. These are stitch markers that I made. They are When India's Calling. They're under, these two are under the When India's Calling. And as I said, they are stitch markers that I made. If you like them, let me know. I can send you some. But here's what the pattern's looking like. I think it is coming out quite well. I am using my Boyo 5.0 needles. I don't think they're 32 inches, but it is working. Knock on wood, I will keep it. I am using Caron Simply Soft in the Limelight colorway. Yes, you will notice it's caked up quite nicely. And yes, I know I'm using Caron. I know, how dare I, another acrylic Limelight. I do like my acrylics as well as my Nicey yarn. But the reason why I am using, and it's being kept in my I Love America bag that I made, my project bag. The reason why I'm using acrylic on this versus my Nicey Nicey yarn is because I decided I'm working on it. What if I don't like the shawl when it's done? Which promotes I want to give it away to somebody. Well, I figured I'd do it out of it. If I don't like it and I want to give it away, it's acrylic and it gets stuck in the washer and dryer, no big deal. And on top of that, I also love the color. I seen it at, where did I get it? Joann's Fabric. I seen it at Joann's Fabric when I went, and I just love the color Limelight. It's gorgeous. It's not a screaming green, and it's not a boring green, but it's a nice, as you guys can see, it's a nice green. And I happen to like it. As I said, if I don't like it when it's knitted up, and my grand wants it, she can wash and dry it. I'm also hoping that I get this done to wear it for St. Patrick's Day. It's green. I thought of that when I was knitting. I'm like, hey, that would be nice to wear a shawl during a nice shawl around March for St. Patrick's Day. It's green. So it's a win-win. And this is actually an enjoyable knit. I actually like knitting it up. Very enjoyable. I mean, once you get the pattern down and you can just knit, it is enjoyable. I love it. I am marking. I have a book so that I can stay on track to mark things so I'm not lost like I was before trying to remember. I can mark where I stopped and where to start. So that's that. My next work in progress kind of changed a little bit. You guys remember, or if you're new, I decided to try and come up with my own sock pattern. I titled it Vanilla Fish Lips Kiss Socks. And why did I title that? Because I'm going to use the Fish Lips Kiss heel for the very first time. And the way I'm making it up is I'm using a pattern from a sock that I know that fit me. The starting off wise fit me, and then I just took it from there. And you guys remember I was doing it 2 at a time, toe up. Well, within the past week, I ripped those suckers out twice. The first time, I dropped stitches. The first time, I had a split stitch. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to sew that back in. And then I just kept knitting on, and I started getting laddering going on. I'm like, never had laddering. This is like the 3rd pair of socks I made. And then I dropped a stitch. Well, I tried to pick the stitch up, and I dropped it even further and further. So then I ripped it out. Both pair. Started it back up, magic loop cast on, and when I was knitting them and I tried them on I traced my foot for the Fish Lips Kiss. I traced it, and I just tried it on because I'm like, that looks holy at the toe. Yeah, it had a hole. I don't know how, but it had a hole. So then I was watching Knitables podcast. Another good podcast, check that out, Knitables. And she showed the Turkish cast on. Now keep in mind, I was always scared of the Turkish cast on. I'm like, that looks so complicated. It looks horrible. I don't want to do it. It looks like the worst cast on ever. I'm only sticking with magic loop. Yeah, open mouth, insert foot, because I tried the Turkish cast on. And you guys are not going to believe it, but hopefully 3rd time's a charm. I decided that instead of doing toe-up socks 2 at a time, I'm going to try this 1 at a time. I mean, I'm kind of bummed about that because I feel like I failed at trying to knit 2 at a time socks on 1 circ needle. But I don't think of it as a failure. I think of it as I'm going to try again. And part of it, I wonder if it's the yarn I'm using. But before I go into that, here's what my sock looks like. I used a Turkish cast on. It's not as scary as I thought. I actually like the Turkish cast on. It's actually quite fun in a way. But that's what it looks like. And over at Knitables, they taught a way to do it where you can cast on some extra stitches in case you drop some along the way. And it actually worked out pretty good because then I was like, hey, this is fun. Let me see if I can get it up so I can show you guys on the foot thing how it's looking. Alright, here's what it's looking like so far. I think it is actually coming out quite well. No holes in the feet, no laddering going on. Yay, I don't have laddering. Well, I think I do a little bit, I'm sorry. I fibbed, I do have a little laddering, but it got, as you can see, I do have a little laddering going on there, but not on the other side for some reason. I don't know why I have it going on one side. But as you can see, as it's going up, it's not, the laddering isn't as bad. I don't know why I'm not pulling the stitches too tight and I'm not leaving them too loose. I don't know if it's the yarn. I've never used this before, but I'm using Red Heart, Heart and Soul in the Mellow Stripes colorway. Has any of y'all ever used Red Heart sock yarn? Do you like it? Have you had issues with it? I've used other sock yarn and I never got laddering before. It always worked good. The needles I'm using are Carbons 2.25. As I said, I don't know why it's doing that. Even in my first two pair, I had laddering. I tried tightening the stitch, then I tried loosening it. I don't know what's going on. I never had this in any of my socks. So again, if you guys can input, it would be great. I mean, I like the way they're turning out. Now it don't look like it's laddering, huh? And if you're wondering, yes, I do have a small foot. My foot is only a size 7.5. It's kind of good, but it's kind of bad because I can go up a half size or down a half size. Anyways, that's what I have going on the needles. Those are my only two works in progress this week. And this is being kept in my another I Love America bag that I made up myself. I got the fabric at Joann's a while back and I decided, hey, let's try our hand at a project bag. I'm trying to straighten this out. I got my yarn twisted putting it on the sock. Alright. And I try to keep my gauge, like, I'm not having gauge issues. I don't know what it is. Like I said, my other socks, I didn't have this issue. I don't know if it's just the yarn. Because sometimes when I'm knitting with it, it splits when I go to put the needle in. It's like in between the yarn. Let me see if I can show you. Maybe it won't do it now. But it splits like that. I don't know if it's the yarn. I got this yarn a while back on sale. And I figured I'd use it up just to make a pair of socks. So we'll see. I hope I like them when they're done. Alright. I guess that moves us right along into enhancements. As you guys saw on my shawl, I had a nice cake. And if you're wondering why, I ordered from Knit Picks last week. And I got it in the mail. I ordered a new yarn winder. Yay! It's actually all apart in the box. I've used it, but it can take it apart. It's the one where it winds on top. And I love it. It works great. Knock on wood, I haven't had any trouble The only thing I did notice is like about tightening my tension when I'm winding. Once I tightened it a little more, worked perfect. A lot better than the one that I got from Hobby Lobby, which you guys heard me talk about. It's horrible. Anybody, if you're new watching me and you're thinking of buying a yarn ball winder from Hobby Lobby from their Yarnology, do not buy it. It works horrible, horrible. It's a side winder, like here's your table and you stick it on and the cone faces this way and winds it. As where this one, the cone here is on top and winds it. Well, the one that I got from Hobby Lobby from Yarnology, that's a sidewinder, horrible. No matter how tight I would make my tension, or how I could make my tension so tight that my hands were getting burns from it, and it would jump the yarn and not spin it right. It would just turn it into a mess, and not. So, don't waste your money on that. Go to someplace like Knit Picks or something else. This yarn winder, I paid $20. Yeah, you figure with tax, $20. It was like $19.99, $20. And I love it. It works great. The next thing I took advantage on of Knit Picks because they had a sale going on for free shipping. They had on their bags, they had a sale on their Namaste bags. And I always love Namaste. But Namaste is pricey. Don't get me wrong, I want to get a big Namaste bag, but they're pricey. I'll have to check eBay. But anyways, I got a little Notions pouch. Namaste Notions pouch. This one was on sale, and it actually is. It holds. I don't know if it would hold a sock in here, but I have my little Notion stuff, like a ruler and stitch markers, and I'm keeping it in my sock bag. So that's working pretty good. And then under their, I believe it's samples, they had a big thing of their cotton yarn, their Knit Picks Dishy. I took advantage of that, and it's a new colorway called Hot Dishy. And this is what it looks like. It's all different shades of red. I believe it was if you go to Knit Picks under their samples. I could not pass it up for the price. It was very reasonably priced. Or I think it was reasonable. Hang on, I'll tell you guys. Hot Dishy for, I forget how many I got in here, came to 27. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 of them, and anybody that's ever knit with cotton, like even Lily Sugar and Cream, if you guys have ever knit with that, you know that cotton yarn is not cheap. Even their Dishy, when you buy it single, isn't cheap. So I was like, I'm taking advantage of that. I'm like, I'm getting 10 things of yarn. I'm taking advantage of it. And it's in several colors. You can make who knows what with this. Which is bringing me to something I'm thinking of doing. Which is a dishcloth along. I don't know what you guys think of that, but that's something I'm toying around with. I do love using the cotton yarn to make dishcloths. I make market tote bags. I've made a project bag out of one. I've made a huge yarn stash basket out of one. I do love my dishcloth yarn. I will not lie about that. And I was running low on cotton yarn, and I was like, that's perfect. So that's that. I guess we should go into some chatter quick. If you're leaving me now, I will see you next week. And if you're sticking around, let's get started. What's going on? It's still cold. Below digits, they're calling for more snow. Horrible. Yeah, that's that. It's cold. I can't wait for it to warm up. I went to the doctor today because I'm itchy. I'm sorry, guys. I just had an itch. Yeah, I went to the doctor today because I'm starting with a urinary tract infection. So I went to get that taken care of. If you have anybody, if you have one, please go get it taken care of. They're not fun. They're horrible. And if I look funky, my eyeliner that I'm using, I don't know if anybody uses the Avon eyeliner where you twist it out of the tube and you put it on. But when I use it, when I wash my face at night, I use Noxzema. And even with that, it's like the eyeliner don't want to wash away. And then it looks like the next day or that night that I got punched in my eyes. So I think I'm going to try another eyeliner brand. I have used Rimmel, and I've had no trouble. But I hate to go out and buy new makeup when I have plenty of makeup at home. I want to use it up before I buy more. So if I look funky in the eyes, like it looks like I got black eye or my eyes are dark, that's why it's my eyeliner. Other than that, like I said, nothing new going on. Just trying to stay warm with the snow and frigid weather. If anybody if you're on the East Coast here or in the South and it's cold, if you know somebody in dire need of warmth, please help them out. If you have extra blankets that you knit and you crochet and you don't use them and you know you're not going to use them, donate them to somebody that could use them. There's shelters that can take them. There's churches that take them, that give them out to the needy people that need them. Even your fur babies, even though they have fur, they get cold. Put a blanket down for them. They like to be warm. I mean, just a thought, if you're looking what to do with your extra stuff. If you know somebody that's in need that wants to be kept warm, because I know as much as my heat stays on in my house, it's been like it was like 22 blowout, and you could feel, we have good windows, but you could feel it seeping in through all those panes of glass. And for an elderly person or somebody that can't afford to turn heat up, that little extra warmth would help them. Just a thought. And we're almost at 40 minutes. I'm trying to keep this down. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Count your blessings. If you're well, stay well. If you're sick, get yourself better. Or try to. If you know somebody that's cold, help warm them up. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated, because karma comes back around to you. And if you're miserable, if you're not good to somebody, you're not going to get good back. If you're good, you'll get good. So that's what I'm going to say, and God bless everybody. I hope to see you next week. Bye. Love. Can't find the end button. Here we go. Bye.